Social expectation drowns us all inside. What you have should be what I want, 'cause what I have just ain't alright. The clothes I wear, the way I comb my hair, how I live, oh, I don't care.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillahi wa kafa. Wassalamun ala ibadihi alladhina astafa. Alhamdulillahi alladhi hadana lil Islam. Alhamdulillahi alladhi abda al aflaq wal ardin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala man kana nabiyya wa adamu bayna al ma'i wa tin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Rabbi ighfir warham wa anta khairur rahimin. Allahumma ighfir li jiddi wa hazli wa qata'i wa amadi wa kullu dhalika indi ya rabbal alamin. Allahumma ighfir li dhanbi diqqahu wa jillahu wa awwalahu wa akhirahu wa alaniyatahu wa sirrah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad النبي الأمي وعلى آله وسلم تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد كلما ذكره الذاكرون وصل على سيدنا محمد كلما غفل عن ذكره الغافلون. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. ربنا يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين يا فتاح. اللهم اجعلنا دعاة إليك وإلى رسولك. اللهم فقهنا في الدين وعلمنا القرآن الحكيم. ربنا زدنا علما. ربنا زدنا علما. ربنا زدنا علما. Amma ba'd. We were on the 16th chapter, and this chapter was on the boundless mercy and kindness of Allah on His servants. Be-intiha, His fazl, His karam, His ni'mat upon His servants. We are on page 194. Those who have the book, Ikmalul Shiyam, page 194, we go to the words of the Sheikh Ibn Ata'illah al-Iskandari rahimahullah, the author of Al-Hikam. Then Maulana Ali Muttaqeen put it into Babs, Tabweebul Hikam. Tarjuma was done by Maulana Saharanpuri, known as Itmamun Ni'am. Shara was done by Maulana Abdullah, known as Ikmalul Shiyam. The Sheikh says, two ni'mats of Allah Ta'ala, two bounties of Allah Ta'ala are so vast that nothing at all is beyond their confines. Everything is within their confines. Nothing is beyond their confines. Both these ni'mats, bounties, are necessary for every existing object. The first ni'mat is the act of creating, Allah's khaliqiyat. And the second ni'mat is the act of sustaining, His raziqiyat. Subhanallah. Khaliqiyat and raziqiyat. That is the aid of sustenance reaching continuously. The favors of Allah Ta'ala limitlessly descend on every creature. Even limitless special favors are on every created object. However, there are two bounties which are common to everything. These two ni'mats are the necessary requisites of every existing object. The first is the act of creation, sifat of khalq, his being khaliq, khaliqiyat. Everything was non-existent prior to its existence. Admul wujud. By the fadl and the grace of Allah Ta'ala, the gift of existence, the gift of wujud was bestowed. He thus created the object and eliminated non-existence. Allahu Akbar. He brought wujud and eliminated admul wujud. He created the object and eliminated non-existence from the created object. That is why in Tasawwuf there is a stage which is called Wahdatul Wujud, oneness of existence. Oneness of existence, that nothing is wajibul wujud, nothing is wajib and essential to be existing except Allah. Everything else was non-existent, and the existence of it proves its khaliqiyat, and Allah eliminated from the created objects and the existing objects, He eliminated non-existence. Wow. That's a deep thought and a deep stage to reach where a person could always contemplate that. So nothing impresses him because he sees everything as being non-existent and only Allah is the existent one. Wajibul wujud is called wahdatul wujud. So that's the first ni'mat, the ni'mat of his khaliqiyah, that he is khaliq. Secondly, after coming into existence by way of creation, everything is wholly dependent on the aid of Allah Ta'ala for its endurance and sustenance. For this need, it is dependent on Allah Ta'ala every second of its existence. Should Allah Ta'ala withhold His aid, everything will again return to the state of non-existence. It will not be there. He has created different ways and means for the existence of different objects. Example, for animals, He has created water, food, etc. For the birds, He created something else. Everything He has created something for it to continue and remain. So khaliqiyat and raziqiyat, khaliq and raziq. The Shaykh says, firstly, Allah Ta'ala blessed you, and direct focus this kalam to you, to me, to you. Allah Ta'ala blessed you with the ni'mat of existence. Alhamdulillah, you exist in Naeem. Secondly, not only existing, secondly, every moment He ensures your existence. How? By delivering to you both zahiri and batini bounties, external and internal bounties, in a continuous, uninterrupted flow. Allahumma zid fazid, Rabbana zidna ilma. Commenting on this, what this means. In the earlier statement, mention was made of the bounties of creation and assistance common to all created objects. Now, in the present statement, the Shaykh Rahmatullah Alayhi addresses insan, man in particular. In fact, the address is directed to the mu'min, to Khalifa, to Abdul Ahad. The mu'min's attention is drawn to his earlier state. Think about it, of pure non-existence. You were nothing, you were not even existing. Allah Ta'ala then conferred on him, O you, O mu'min, He conferred on you His ni'mat of existence. That is why we must treasure life and be grateful for life. I remember long ago there was a song back in the 60s or 70s. I just want to celebrate another day of living. Maybe you all don't know that. It was a good song. I just want to celebrate another day of living. Thus, for his existence, the mu'min should understand that he is wholly dependent on Allah Ta'ala. Dependence is therefore man's natural and inherent attribute which he should never ever forget. He is dependent. Secondly, every breath and moment Allah Ta'ala ensures that man receives his favors necessary for his physical and spiritual existence, both, physical and spiritual. Food, garments, and a variety of preparations have been and are being continuously created for man's physical existence and survival. Every single day. Wow. For a man's spiritual existence, Allah Ta'ala constantly sends His aid also in an uninterrupted flow for his ruhaniyat, spiritual existence. Without the spiritual aid of Allah, namely tawfiq, what we call tawfiq. Tawfiq is the spiritual aid. Without this tawfiq and hidayah, so without the spiritual aid of Allah, namely tawfiq and hidayah, which He inspires into the mu'min, without this, the mu'min will go astray. Without this, person will go astray. That's why the Quran says, وَمَا تَوْفِيقِ إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ. Thus, it has been observed that when, and this is so deep here, when Allah Ta'ala terminates, stops His aid, His tawfiq from certain people, they fall headlong into deviation and they go into dhalal. Yahdi man yasha, He guides whom He wants. Wa yudhillu man yahdi man yasha wa yudhillu man yasha. He guides whom He wants, He misguides whom He wants. It has been observed that when Allah Ta'ala terminates His aid, stops His aid, His tawfiq and His hidayat from certain people, they fall headlong into deviation and dalal. And that is one of the worst types of punishments. Sometimes a man fall into some calamity, but when a calamity falls upon him that he goes into dalal, that is because Allah has withheld His aid. Since it is not possible for you to be independent from your Rabb for even a second, nor do you own anything which you can claim to be your own property, then despite this complete dependency on Allah Ta'ala, why do you portray independence, istighna? Why? Why this self-esteem? Why this takabbur, this conceit, this self-esteem? Why this claim of excellence? How can these claims be correct? You should become a slave, keeping in mind your origin and refrain from making boastful claims. When the Sheikh says, when He has disillusioned you from others and made you forlorn by yourself, when He has done that, then understand that He, Allah, desires to open the door of His love and affection on you. Commentary. O Salik, if your heart cannot find solace and peace with anyone excepting the dhikr of Allah, and you are terrified of people, they cause you discomfort, you don't want to be around them, and you are terrified of people, then understand that this state which you are in, understand this state to indicate Allah's desire of love and affection for you. He wants to open the door of His love unto you, and that He will keep you aloof, away from all things besides Him. On the other hand, the flip side, if your heart derives comfort from people and you become bored and terrified of solitude and dhikr, then understand that this condition is a great loss and misfortune for you. So anytime a person says, boy, I bored, boy, got nobody to talk to, no one, no wrong, by myself, that's a terrible condition and a great loss and misfortune for you. Allah wants to keep you aloof from all things. Khalwat, solitude, that's where you get a chance to be with your beloved. When He desires, the Shaykh says, when He desires to display His favor and His kindness to you, He will create in you amal salihah. Allahu Akbar. When He, Allah, desires to display His favor and kindness to you, He will create in you, give you the tawfiq, give you the aid. That's why it is said our actions are created. A'maluna makhluqa. He will create in you amal salihah, good actions. And you know what? The praise will be attributed to you. So kind is Allah. Commentary. When Allah Ta'ala wishes to manifest His kindness and favor to a banda, to a servant, He creates deeds and lofty attributes. On the occasions of praise, He relates these good deeds and attributes to the banda, but it's He who created them. In reality, the banda's action and choice have no role in his righteous deeds, since Allah Ta'ala creates these deeds in him. Although Allah Ta'ala is the creator of these pious deeds, He relates the deeds to the banda, who is praised by people with titles such as Muttaqee, boy, he's a Muttaqee, he's a Muhsin, etc. Thus, if the banda, if the slave is intelligent, he will not become vain and proud when he is blessed with the fadl of Allah Ta'ala. On the contrary, he should be bashful. People are praising you, be bashful and refrain from attributing any virtuous attribute to himself. However, evil and defects should be attributed to himself, to oneself. All beautiful attributes should be related to Allah Ta'ala. And this is normally a time when pride comes in, when people start to praise you. You are, wow, you are Muttaqee, Muhsin, so pious, so righteous, what a wonderful speech, what a good khutbah, this, that. The Shaykh says, whoever respects and honors you, and people will do that when you move along this path and do things to please Allah. Whoever respects and honors you has in reality neither respected nor honored you. But what he has respected, what he has done is he has respected and honored the act of divine concealment. That is Allah's act of concealing your defects. Explaining this, Maulana says, O Salik, when someone respects and honors you with praise or gifts, do not become proud. Do not become proud. Do not gain the impression that you have in you some excellence. In reality, the person has not really praised you, but the person has praised Allah. He has praised Allah's attribute of sattariyat, that is concealment of your faults. That's what he's praising, Allah's sattariyat. If Allah Ta'ala had not concealed your nafsani evils, people will not even spit on you. All would have detested you because your nafs is an embodiment of mischief and evil. Therefore, do not praise and flatter the one who praises you or the one who treats you with respect, honor, and kindness. Don't flatter him. That being who has concealed your faults is deserving of praise. This is Allah's sattariyat. The one who praises and honors you is not deserving of respect and praises. On such occasions, you are liable to commit two errors when people praise you. Two errors. The first error is that your gaze will be on the one who praises you, and you will regard him as your benefactor, whereas the true benefactor is Allah Ta'ala. It is He, Allah, who has concealed your evil. He has concealed your evil. As a result of the respect and honor of people, do not feel that you are possessing any virtuous attributes. Any such attitude will be a grave error. However, there's nothing wrong in expressing gratitude to the one who is kind and shows respect to you. And you should do it. For it is Allah Ta'ala who bestowed the goodness to you through the agency of that person who has honored you. So we show gratitude to them. Man lam yashkurin nas lam yashkurillah. Who is not grateful to people is not grateful to Allah. But you know what? The gaze should be on only Allah Ta'ala. Bismillah. The Shaykh says, if it was not for his concealment, because when people praising you, they're not seeing your faults, Subhanallah, Allah is concealing your faults. That's why people praising you. So they praising Allah's sattariyah, that He is sattar, and you should be so grateful and so bashful when they praising you. If it was not for His concealment, not a single deed would be deserving of divine acceptance. What that means? Only a deed entirely devoid of any nafsani contamination deserves to be accepted by Allah. What hadith tells us? Inna Allah tayyibun, that Allah is tayyib, yakbalu tayyib, and only accepts that which is tayyib and good and pure. Allah don't accept anything else besides that. Regardless of the degree of adornment and purification of the nafs, there will remain to some extent ego in the nafs, even though this may not be discernible, might be very small. The nafs by nature is an embodiment of evil. Always remember that. It is therefore simply Allah's grace and kindness that He overlooks and He conceals the evil and the sins of the banda. He shows great forbearance by withholding His punishment from the sinful banda. Above all, you know what? He accepts the banda's defective deeds. Deeds are defective, but yet He still accepts it. In reality, no one's deeds deserve acceptance in His lofty court. Therefore, O Salik, do not be overwhelmed by excessive grief on account of the deficiencies in your acts of virtue. Sometimes that's the next mistake. And you find like things are not performing it right, my deeds are so defective, and then you go into depression, and then you start to do nothing at all. In fact, when Allah Ta'ala accepts, He even accepts our defective deeds and He awards rewards for the very defective acts offered by His servants. Because this is the way of shaitan, to put you in depression and say, boy, me and was concentration in my zikr, my salat, feeling right. And then because of that, you become over sad. And then slowly you start to leave off everything. Allah is Allah. He even accepts the defective deeds. The Shaykh, Nawar Allahu Marqadahu wa Nafana bi Ulumihim Amin says, he says, you know something? This is so deep. Prior to taking the pledge on His uniqueness from you in this Alam-e-Zahir, physical world, because we have taken the pledge in this physical world, what have we said? La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. Some of us have embraced Islam. We have said Ashhadu Allah. But prior to this, He, Allah, had caused you to perceive His oneness, His unity, way back in Alam-e-Ghaib, in the unseen realm of the souls. Alam-e-Arwah is there it started, not here. Hence, the physical body become imbued with His uluhiyat, His godhood, and the heart and spiritual faculties, which are called the sara'ir, heart, spiritual faculties, sara'ir, with the yaqeen of His uniqueness. What does this mean? Explanation. O Salik, do not think that there is no prior origin and cause for the testimony which you bear for His unity here on earth. You're a Muslim, Shahadat, Tawheed. Don't think that there was no prior origin to this. It has now started. I embraced Islam at 17 years. This is when it started. No. So don't think that there is no prior origin and cause for the testimony which you bear for His unity here on earth, and for the ibadat you are performing, and you feel that this ibadat is now being performed now, is now I get hidayat. Long ago, before Allah Ta'ala demanded that you testify to His unity, which is on the earth here, long ago before that, Allah had revealed and shown you, every one of you, every one of us, He had shown you His unity and His tawheed and oneness in Alam-e-Arwah, in the realm and the world of the souls. That's where it started. After your appearance on the earth now, your ruh and your soul fettered, became shackled to the material form, and trapped. The ruh is trapped in the body. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after your appearance on the earth, your ruh fettered to the material form, it clung to the material form, and this ruh and soul of yours activated the physical body with His ubudiyat, with His godhood, and ma'budiyat, with Him being the object of worship. This was on account of the spiritual perception it had experienced way back in Alam-e-Arwah. That ruh is now doing that to your body. Thus, what's happening on the earth now? The tongue proclaims His unity and godhood, while the other physical limbs, by their obedience, imply that Allah Ta'ala is the true being to be worshipped and obeyed. Therefore, the limbs go into sajda and ruku, while the heart and the other spiritual faculties, the sarair, have the yaqeen of His uniqueness. If it was not for that prior revelation long ago, way back in Azal, in the realm of the souls, Alam-e-Arwah, if it was not for that, you know what? Then in this physical world, neither would the physical body have testified to His unity, nor would the heart and the sarair have developed yaqeen. all this activation of the body by the soul is because of what took place long, long ago. So an example for us to understand this. The similitude of the aforementioned reality is like that of a city. Think of a city which you had seen and forgotten. You saw it, but then you forget that city. On being reminded of this city, then you recall it, and your heart now has firm conviction and yaqeen and belief of its existence and description. However, if you had never ever seen the city, yaqeen will not develop regardless of the efforts of a person to explain to you, because you never saw it. Yaqeen is not possible when the form of a thing is not in one's subconscious mind, already embedded in the imagination. So that's the example. It's that Alami Arwah is like a city which we had once seen, and then we forgot about it. And now the prophets came, scriptures came, reminding us about that scene and scenario. And then the ruh starts to activate the body. If a person had never seen a city, then how could he even remember? In the absence of ruhani mushahada, perception of the soul, yaqeen, which is like mushahada, would not have been possible on the basis of only rational proofs of the haqq. In this world, just on logic and proof, rational proofs, we would not have received hidayat and yaqeen. It's no. Yaqeen kamil, perfect yaqeen, is not based on dalail, rational proofs. Perfect yaqeen kamil, is not based on dalail and rational proofs. That is why in the end, when Sheikh Fakhruddin al-Razi, when Shaitan was breaking all the dalil, time for him to go, and Shaitan is breaking all the dalil. Shaitan is telling him, what, you're dying, what are you talking about? What proof that you have of any akhirat? What jannat? Have nothing. Me, you see me? I am here. What you have? What? And he is bringing every proof. Shaitan is breaking every dalil, 100 dalils. When the Sheikh, by way of kashf, Allah opened it up to him, he saw what was going on. He said, threw away his load of water that he was making wuzu with, and he said, tell the Shaitan that I believe in Allah without any logic and without any proof. Subhanallah. That is why Iman is called what? Iman is Iman bil Ghaib, belief in the unseen. You haven't seen Jannah, but you believe. Subhanallah. We haven't even seen the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, but we believe. Here what? Yaqeen, reality. Yaqeen is like a lost item. This explains it nicely. Yaqeen is like a lost item which is immediately recognized on sight. Similarly, perfect conviction, yaqeen kamil, of Tawheed, Risalat, and all things of the Akhirah existing in the heart of a Kamil Mu'min has no relationship. It has no relationship at all with rational proofs. He recognizes, the Mu'min recognizes all these realities just as one would recognize one's lost item which has been found. Thus, this yaqeen which he has in this world now is the consequence, the result of the ruhani mushahada, when his ruh had witnessed those things way back. This is the consequence. The ruh way back in Alami Arwah was shown all haqa'iq, all realities. Then, when the ruh was later imprisoned in this material body, you know what is one commentary of ad-dunya sijnul mu'min? We always hear the hadith. The world is a prison for the believer. It is because we are imprisoned here, the ruh is imprisoned in this material body. But with death now, it's like a bird that has been freed from a cage. That's one of the commentaries of Ad-Dunya Sijnul Mu'min. When the ruh was later imprisoned in this material body, it forgot these haqa'iq. Our own ruh forgot about all these realities it had seen way back in Alam-e Arwah, which were revealed to it way back then. Why did our ruh forget? Why did we forget that? Because we were imprisoned in the material body on account of the influences of the physical body. The ruh forgot about it. Influence of the physical body. So now, the Anbiya alayhimus salatu wassalam, the prophets, the Quran, Hadith, therefore remind man of this reality, and then the ruh starts to remember. Yeah, wow. Because of the influences of the physical body and the nafs, the ruh kind of forget. Hazrat Ali, karramallahu wajha, he used to say that even after coming in this world, I remember that pledge and I took in Alam-e Arwah. Ali, subhanallah, karramallahu wajha. You know, if the fadl and the grace of Allah Ta'ala is directed to the banda, the material veils of the physical body are lifted, and the ruh then resumes its original mushahada. The physical body, the jism, is subservient and obedient to the ruh. Hence, it becomes fully involved in obedience. وَذَلِكَ فَضْلُ اللَّهِ, and that is the fadl and favor of Allah. يُؤْتِيهِ مَن يَشَاءُ, He grants it to whomsoever He wants. The Shaykh, rahimahullah, says, occasionally Allah reveals to you some of His hidden royal secrets, and He prevents you at the same time from being informed of the secret of the hearts of His servants. Because when a person who is not imbued with divine mercy learns of the secrets of people, then this awareness of his becomes a fitna for him and a medium of misfortune. Explanation. O Salik, sometimes Allah Ta'ala reveals to you by way of kashf and by way of ilham. By way of kashf and ilham, sometimes Allah reveals to you some of the hidden mysteries of the heaven and the earth. It happens to those special servants of Allah. It's called kashf, because Allah removes the veils and sometimes He shows you certain secrets and some of the hidden mysteries of the heavens and the earth. Example, future events, something that hasn't happened yet, but Allah shows you that this is going to happen. Or some information of distant places, etc. So sometimes He opens up this knowledge to you and shows you these things. However, He, Allah, does not make you aware of the secrets in the hearts of His servants. It's not appropriate for you to desire such information of the hearts of people, because this awareness, if you become aware of that, you know what happens? This awareness is withheld for your own benefit. The knowledge of the secrets in the hearts of men is awarded. Sometimes you can sit in the presence of a person and Allah reveals to the person what the person has in his heart. That is also a form of kashf, and it has occurred on so many occasions. Our Sheikh, Hazrat Maulana Yusuf Mutala, Hafizahullah, persons like Mufti Mahmud Al-Gangohi, Rahimahullah, they used to say, Hazrat would say that when we were sitting in the company of Hazrat Sheikh Maulana Zakaria, we would constantly be saying the dua, Allahumma astur awratina wa amin rawatina, O Allah, hide up our faults and keep us safe from our fears. because the X-ray eyes. I remember from Maulana Khalid, who teaches in Darul Uloom, he told us that once he was sitting in Hazrat's class in England, in Bury, and Hazrat was teaching Mishkat, and Hazrat was going to teach in the morning very early the chapter of Haiz, chapter of menstruation. And Khalid said, he told us with his own mouth, that he in his heart, in his mind, he said, early in the morning, we're going to study this nasty thing. Ye gandagi cheese. In his mind, he thought that. And Hazrat looked at him and said, Khalid, kya gandagi cheese? Khalid, what nastiness? How did that happen? That is called kashf. Subhanallah. The secret in his heart, but it was revealed to Hazrat. But it's revealed only to special people. Because if this knowledge became aware, then you start looking at people down. So the knowledge of the secrets in the hearts of men, that knowledge is awarded to only such a person who has become a perfect manifestation of Allah's attribute of mercy. Only those people get it. Imam Abu Hanifa also had it. Subhanallah. Imam Abu Hanifa had such kashf that when people would make wudu, he would see the sins being washed off in the wudu and know that this person drank wine that day because the water falling off the limbs would tell him. And he asked Allah to take away that. He didn't want to see it. Allah's attribute of rahmat is all embracing. Despite his knowledge of the condition of men's heart, Allah is so merciful. He knows the conditions of men's heart, Because we are all like open book before Allah. Sometimes a man meets you and he smiles and says, Assalamu alaikum, how are you? And his heart cursing you inside. So you could fool somebody, but we can't fool Allah. Allah knows what is inside. Despite Allah's knowledge of the condition of men's heart, He conceals and hides their evil by virtue of His attribute of mercy, and He overlooks the errors and the sins of the Johala, the ignoramuses. Allah does not hastily apprehend the perpetrators of evil. Wow, mercy again. Nobody does a sin and immediately he's punished. Sometimes the punishment might come after 5 years, 2 years. Allah doesn't just punish immediately right away. He does not hastily apprehend the perpetrators of evil. He conceals the faults of all people. That is why Allah is known as As-Sattar. Sattar. A man who was imbued in himself such an attribute of mercy that he is soft and kind to people and he likes to conceal the faults of others. If a man has that within him, such a person is sometimes made aware of the secret of men's heart. Only to such people, sometimes Allah makes him aware of the secrets of men's heart. But one who lacks in this attribute of mercy will be cast into trial by the revelation of such secrets of the heart, because his concern with his nafs will produce pride in him. Everyone is not morally reformed. Good and evil thoughts enter into the heart. How many times throughout the day? Should such inner thoughts be revealed to one who is lacking in the attribute of perfect mercy, what's that going to cause? To be a fitna for him. He will despise other Muslims. He will despise other Muslims while believing himself to be holy. Thus, this will be a fitna constituting an avenue of misfortune for him, so Allah does not make him aware. Only some people, on some occasions, for a reason. For a reason. Pride, takabbur, or to consider oneself to be great, may bada ho, is a great, great misfortune. A great misfortune for man. May Allah save us. Ameen. Greatness, kibriya, is an attribute which belongs exclusively to Allah Ta'ala. The man who lays claim to greatness will have his neck broken by Allah. Allah doesn't like that. Hence it is best and in the interest of the Banda that he is not informed of the secrets of men's hearts. But yet Allah will inform him of other secrets, And some people would be informed, those who could handle it. And for a certain reason it is done. Nothing is without the hikmah and wisdom of Allah. However, such revelation will not be a fitna for a man who has inculcated mercy in his nature. What is another way of saying that? A man who has his heart in the right place. He has his heart in the right place. He has a heart. Someone was telling me last night, he says, unfortunately, many of us have our hearts under our feet. It's not in the right place. So such a person, even if he is informed by way of kashf or ilham of the secrets of their hearts, he will view the people with affection and mercy. Affection and mercy. It's not going to be a fitna for him. The Sheikh says, when Allah saw the attention of his servants directed to his special grace and to the manifestation of the mysteries of his special attention, he saw the Banda servants focused towards that. Then he proclaimed, Allah chooses his rahmat for whomsoever he desires. Wallahu yaqtassu bi rahmatihi man yasha. Thus, by declaring thus, Allah severed the vein of desire. He severed the vein of desire when he saw that if he left them, his servants, to believe that the secret of his grace is in fact his choice of bestowing mercy on whomsoever he wishes, then trusting on the eternal decree of taqdeer, they would have abandoned the practice of righteous deeds. Then Allah said, Ala inna rahmatallah qareebun minal muhsinin. The mercy of Allah is near to those who practice righteousness. To understand this, the rahmat of Allah is of two kinds. First, to understand, the rahmat of Allah is of two kinds. Rahmati amma and rahmati khassa. A general mercy and a special mercy. So rahmat is of two types. Let's talk about the first one. Rahmati amma, ar-rahmatul amma, or universal mercy, is for the entire creation. And this comes through the sifat of what? Rahman, Rahman. By virtue of this general mercy, he bestowed existence to everyone and everything, as well as sustaining them until an appointed time. And this is manifestation of what? Rahman. To everybody. Mu'min, kafir, fasik, hypocrite, chicken, dog, cow. General mercy that comes from Rahman. This mercy is not restricted to any particular being, but extends to all things. Thus Allah Ta'ala says, my mercy embraces all things. Wasiyat rahmati kulla shay. My mercy embraces all things. He is Rahman. This is the rahmat of creation and sustenance, which is called ar-rahmatul amma. Second type of rahmat now, rahmati khassa, ar-rahmatul khassa, or the special rahmat, is his proximity, qurb. closeness to Allah, grace of Allah, attention of Allah, attention of Allah. This mercy is not general. It's not given. That's why Allah says Rahim. Rahimun, and the tafsir will tell us, Rahimum bil mu'minin. Rahimum bil awliya. He is Rahim to the mu'minin. He is Rahim to the awliya. But he is Rahman to everybody. This mercy, special mercy, Rahmat-e Khasa, is not general. Its basis is divine will. That's how it comes to a person. Divine will. He bestows this special mercy to whomsoever he wills without any intermediate cause. Without any intermediate cause. This is the meaning of the ayat. Wallahu yaktassu bi rahmatihi man yasha. By directing his special mercy to a person, Allah bestows his proximity and qurb to such a person. The Shaykh Rahmatullah alayhi refers to this special mercy. In his eternal knowledge, Allah Ta'ala was aware that people are desirous of this special mercy. They desire that the mysteries and the secrets of the special mercy of Allah be revealed to them so that they attain His qurb and His closeness. Motivated by this quest, they practice righteous deeds, and they make dua and supplicate for the realization of this aim and this goal. Now what happens is that these people now begin to feel that on account of their amale salihah, on account of their virtuous deeds, they have become deserving of Allah's special mercy. They feel I have become deserving of this Rahmat-e Khasa through my deeds, through my 4 months, through my 6 months, through my 1 year in the path of Allah, all this Hajj I did, all this Tahajjud, Quran. They feel they become deserving of this Rahmat-e Khasa now. So dismissing this baseless idea, Allah then says in the Quran, Wallahu yakhtassu bi rahmatihi man yasha. That Allah chooses this Rahmat-e Khasa, special rahmat, for whomsoever He wills. In other words, the quest and righteous deeds of people, these are not the basis for the acquisition of Rahmat-e Khasa. The basis for the acquisition of Rahmat-e Khasa is Allah's will. Allah's will. That's why He says that He chooses His special mercy for whomsoever He wants. Now, although righteous deeds, supplication and effort are not the cause, they are not the cause for the acquisition of this type of mercy, they are undoubtedly signs. They are undoubtedly signs of this special eternal bounty. So they are not the cause, but they are alamat and signs of this special bounty. When, by that fadl of Allah Ta'ala, His grace, the banda practices righteousness, it indicates that Allah has directed His attention to that banda. Once Allah puts His attention on you, so it's an indication and an alamat. It's not the cause, but an alamat and a sign. The banda should understand that these amali salihah will ultimately deliver him to that special mercy of Allah. So these are just alamat and signs, but they are not the cause. But they will, inshallah, bring him to that special mercy of Allah Ta'ala. But he must not ever think that through my actions I am now deserving of this mercy. No. If, however, the banda was not exhorted to practice virtue, but was left, if he was not exhorted to practice virtue and good deeds, And the banda was left with only the belief that Allah Ta'ala grants His special mercy to whomsoever He wills, then the banda would have simply placed his reliance on taqdeer, thus refraining from righteous deeds. So this is the next point. That's why Allah exhorts, وَعْمَلُوا صَالِحًا, do righteous deeds. We are exhorted time and time again to do righteous deeds, because if we were not exhorted to practice virtue and righteous deeds, and if we were only left with the belief that Allah grants this special mercy to whomsoever He wills, then we were kind of get discouraged, and the banda would have simply placed his reliance on taqdeer, and he would refrain from righteous deeds and say, well, if it is to come, it will come. If it ain't to come, it wouldn't come. So to remove this idea also too, hence Allah Ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, Allah inna rahmatallah qareebum minal muhsinin. Verily the rahmat of Allah is near to those who do good. So Allah is exhorting you, do good. Don't just sit down and rely that Allah says, Wallahu yaqtasu bi rahmatihi may yasha. So if I am not one, I ain't gonna get it. And I just rely on taqdeer. No, Allah negates this belief also too by saying, Allah inna rahmatallah qareebum minal muhsinin. The rahmat of Allah is near to those who do good. So do ihsan. Do ihsan, do good deeds, do practice. It is therefore improper. It is therefore improper to abandon righteousness. Improper to abandon righteousness. Along with righteousness, however, hope should not be on the righteousness, and my actions, and I deserving of this rahmati kasa, but hope should be on the will of Allah. The will of Allah Ta'ala, not on one's deeds. Should one repose and put hope on one's deeds, it will be tantamount to reliance on one's nafs. I think we have time for one little chapter again. The Sheikh says, during Azal, what is Azal? We have Azal means eternity when man was non-existent, which we say way back in time, even before time was created. We call that what? Azal. Infinity in terms of non-existence of time. Eternity, when man was non-existent. During this period of Azal, you know what? His special mercy, this rahmat-e khasa, was directed to you without there having emanated from you any act which demands such special mercy, because didn't this take place in alam-e arwah, in the world of the souls? And this was even before what? Way back in eternity in alam-e arwah. Where were you? Where were you when this special mercy was directed to you? In Azal, your attributes and actions did not even exist. Where were you? Nothing besides His pure fadl and magnanimous forgiveness existed. Explaining this, this statement is stated as a proof for the earlier averment. Ya Salik, O Salik, your understanding that your righteous deeds and spiritual states and effort bring about the special mercy and proximity of Allah, that understanding is due to deficiency in your thinking. What deed did you do in Azal, way back in eternity when man was not existent? What deed you did then? What deed did you render in Azal which brought the focus of Allah's bounty to you? The decree of inayat, His special mercy, was applied to you in Azal when you and your deeds were not even existing. It was nothing but His fadl and His grace. Hence, you should not consider your deeds as the cause for His fadl. Remove your gaze from your efforts and focus your gaze on the mercy of Allah Ta'ala. Yeah, let's stop here, inshallah. Page 203, at the bottom of it, inshallah. Subhanallahi wa bihamdihi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. سبحان ربك رب العزة أما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Social expectation drowns us all inside. What you have should be what I want, 'cause what I have just ain't alright. The clothes I wear, the way I comb my hair, how I live, oh I don't care. This is who I am, this is